There is one obstacle between you and the life you want to live: wealth, relationships, achievements, fame. All these dreams are separated from you by a common issue we all struggle with: procrastination. Once you overcome this dangerous habit, you'll start working toward your goals daily and advance toward your future life smoothly and as quickly as possible. So let me guide you through a complete roadmap to eliminate procrastination, tackle all its triggers, and become a resilient individual who produces consistently every day without fatigue or boredom. Procrastination stems from specific causes and sources that drive us to delay tasks. Each of us has varying degrees of these causes. Therefore, I'll divide this video into 3 sections, each addressing a particular reason that pushes you to procrastinate and postpone your tasks. Reason 1. Dopamine. Dopamine is a crucial hormone in your body. You can't live without it. However, it can be used either for your benefit or against you. Let me explain how. When you scroll through your phone or open social media, your body releases a massive amount of dopamine, creating an unstable surge. Once you finish, your dopamine levels drop back to normal. Because they were previously so high, you're left feeling sluggish, sad, bored, and unmotivated to do anything. This is what drives procrastination, and it's called consumptive dopamine. Dopamine derived from consuming entertainment, such as playing games, scrolling through social media, or watching movies and series. We've all become addicted to this type of dopamine because it's easily accessible and offers instant gratification. However, stopping it abruptly often leaves us feeling down and lazy, leading to even more procrastination. So how do you break this cycle? Not by stopping dopamine altogether, but by switching to a different source: productive dopamine. Imagine being at home without any form of entertainment. No internet, no games, no movies. Well, what do you think you would do? You'd probably start cleaning your room, organizing your clothes, or tidying your bed. Maybe you'd pick up a book, finish your homework, or tackle a pending task. Why does this happen? Because as humans, we can't live without dopamine. Even small amounts of dopamine released from activities like reading a book or making your bed give you a sense of satisfaction. This is productive dopamine. When I learned this truth, I decided to eliminate all consumptive sources of dopamine temporarily and focused on achieving things. In just one day, I read over 40 pages of a book, worked for more than 6 hours, exercised for 2 hours, and maintained my daily calorie intake. That day was one of the most fulfilling in my life. I've since become addicted to productivity and only indulge in consumption during designated times. Why is there such a vast difference between consumptive and productive dopamine? First, consumptive dopamine surges rapidly, leaving you bored and unmotivated to do anything else afterward. Second, it provides only temporary, limited pleasure, enjoyable only while you're engaged in the activity, making it hard to switch to tasks that require effort. And third, it has no long-term benefits. As for productive dopamine, it works entirely differently. When you produce something, your dopamine levels start off at a normal or even below normal baseline. However, the beauty of this type of dopamine lies in how it gradually increases as you work. After 2 hours of focused effort, for instance, you begin to feel a sense of happiness. At first, the task might seem overwhelming or exhausting, leaving you unmotivated. But as you keep going, whether working, studying, or doing any productive activity, your daily productivity rises, and the sense of accomplishment from completing difficult tasks increases your dopamine levels step by step. Finally, they peak as you finish your work. The enjoyment derived from productive dopamine is not temporary. It remains elevated throughout the day. For example, if you work for 4 hours and complete a major task, you feel a deep sense of satisfaction. This motivates you to take on more, perhaps by reading or learning something new. Every accomplishment adds to your sense of achievement, accumulating throughout the day and giving you lasting happiness. Moreover, the sense of accomplishment is far more fulfilling than the fleeting joy from consumption. Look at how different the two graphs are. So, how to transition from consumer to producer? If you now understand that one of the main reasons for procrastination and lack of motivation is dopamine consumption, the solution is simple. Cut off this type of dopamine until you finish your tasks. If you start your day consuming dopamine, be it through social media, games, or other distractions, you'll procrastinate for the rest of the day. Instead, begin your day with productivity. Pause games and social media temporarily. Complete your tasks first. Trust me, the satisfaction you'll feel when you use these forms of entertainment after completing your work will be multiplied. It might be difficult initially, but with discipline, you'll eventually care less about consumption. You'll You'll even become excited to finish your tasks just to experience the joy of accomplishment. The goal is to transform yourself from someone who draws happiness from consumption to someone who thrives on productivity. You'll become a person who can't end their day without achieving something meaningful and feels uncomfortable browsing their phone without having started their work. It's only a matter of time before your identity shifts and you eliminate procrastination for good. If you don't believe me, try cutting out all forms of consumption for just one day and see how you feel by the end of it. Reason 2. Avoiding suffering. One major reason for my procrastination was the desire to avoid discomfort. You're sitting comfortably at home, but then you remember all the work you have to do or the exercises you've been postponing. The more overwhelming these tasks seem, the more you procrastinate, pushing them aside and letting them pile up. Eventually, you'll face a dreaded day where you're forced to finish everything in a rush. This mindset completely changed for me when I read a passage by Mark Manson about suffering in his book. He said, avoiding suffering is just another form of suffering. As simple as this sentence is, most of us fail to grasp its depth. When you procrastinate on tasks, thinking you're avoiding discomfort, you're actually letting that discomfort accumulate. The result? Greater suffering later. No matter how difficult your tasks might seem, postponing them only makes them harder. So here's what you should do. Create a plan to break them down into manageable steps, then start working on them immediately. If you still feel they're too overwhelming, there's a powerful solution. Begin your day with something extremely challenging. Once you tackle a hard task first, everything else will seem easier. How to do it. Remember how I mentioned that using your phone in the morning spikes your dopamine and makes everything else feel dull? Instead, start your day with something difficult to reset your baseline. One of the simplest and most effective ways to do this is by taking a cold shower. I'm not here to hype you up with cliches like wake up at 5 a.m. and run outside. No, I mean literally take a 5-minute cold shower every morning. It's challenging, but once you do it, your brain redefines what difficult means. Everything else in your day feels more manageable in comparison. For me, I made going to the gym part of my morning routine. I'd wake up early, dress for the gym, work out with full intensity for 1-2 hours, and then finish with a cold shower. By the time I returned home, I had already completed the hardest part of my day. The remaining tasks, they felt like a bonus. If you commit to starting your day with a difficult task, you'll gradually adapt to productive dopamine and develop a passion for completing your tasks. Over time, you'll begin to love the process of working towards your goals. You'll feel driven to make each day better than the last, and the concepts of laziness or procrastination will fade from your life. Always remember this truth. Avoiding suffering is just another form of suffering. Make this sentence part of your mindset. As Mark Manson also emphasized, happiness isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you work for. Solving your problems and progressing in life each day will bring you lasting happiness. Don't let procrastination stand in the way of your success. Reason 3. You don't plan. Planning plays a crucial role in overcoming procrastination. Think of planning as a map guiding you from an ordinary day to an ideal one. It's completely natural to procrastinate if you haven't planned your tasks in the first place. So, how do you plan effectively? Grab a piece of paper and write down all the tasks you need to complete tomorrow. Add a small checkbox next to each task. List everything without exception. The next day, as mentioned earlier, start with your most challenging task. Often this will be exercising. Afterward, look at your list and identify the primary task for the day. Complete it, then check it off. This simple act of checking off tasks is surprisingly enjoyable. Once you've tackled a difficult task and marked it off, you'll feel a strong desire to move on to the next one. Before you know it, you'll find yourself checking off tasks one after another, eventually completing everything on your list. However, there's a common mistake to watch out for. Don't plan every minute detail of your day, like when to leave the house or when to take breaks. Over-planning like this is ineffective and unsustainable because you're not a robot that adheres to rigid time slots. Instead, focus on writing down your tasks. Over time, you'll naturally develop a routine that aligns with your workflow. Be flexible. It doesn't matter how your day unfolds or when you complete the tasks. What matters is that by the end of the day, every task has a check mark beside it. Planning also makes overwhelming tasks more manageable. If you're working on a large project, don't think about finishing the entire project at once. Instead, focus on the specific task you've assigned for today, like learning about marketing, improving your sales skills, or researching potential clients. With time, you'll refine your planning process. Initially, you'll enjoy the sense of accomplishment it brings, but as you crave more productive dopamine, you'll find creative ways to make your plans even more engaging and effective. Everyone procrastinates sometimes, and the reasons vary. Some procrastinate due to excessive consumption, others because they fear discomfort, and others because they fail to plan. Often we all experience these reasons to different degrees, and they are interconnected. Here's the roadmap to overcoming procrastination. 1. Become someone who derives dopamine from producing, not consuming. 2. Understand that avoiding suffering is itself a greater form of suffering. 3. Start with the hardest task of the day then, something you planned for yesterday. Remember, the results won't appear overnight. Progress takes consistency and discipline. If you're watching this video as an escape from procrastination, it's time to get back to your tasks. If you're unsure what those tasks are, watch this video and start working. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.